I'm Alexandra Kreis, and you're listening to Outer Travel in a Journey. Journeying now for 30 years into the life and practice of yoga, I have met many who have taken interesting turns, went past extraordinary bumps, and reached unexpected places. People with whom I shared conversations about everyday struggles, intimate realizations, larger questions, ideas, and dreams. So today, I'm passing on the mic to one of them so we could hear and celebrate the wisdom in people's differences and experiences. Hello, welcome back to Outer Travel in a Journey. On my show today, I have Alison Lowndes. Is that right, Alison? Ali.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Ali. Ali is the managing and creative director of her own little shop called Ali, a little idea. I like that. Also well over the tongue. So Ali lives in Ireland, Dublin, and we're here together to kind of give a little bit of encouragement through your story. I think I want to put this out to everybody out there who is feels creative and wants to get on her own feet, to listen to how Ali did it and maybe get inspired. So we did a long pre-talk before the show, so I have all the details here already.
I was thinking that was the actual recording.
It's not. So she said everything already. I'm sorry, dear listener. No, we're coming back to this. Well,
Yeah.
we're coming back to this because you said, behind that shop, Ali, a little idea. Maybe let's talk about what you do actually right now to give a kind of to set the scene. What are you selling?
So a little idea is basically it came about 10, 11 years ago when I was still working managing a shop, and I wanted to do something creative outside of working for someone else. And I always had this idea in my head that I would one day work for myself. I wanted to be my own boss, and just for, I suppose, the flexibility of it all, because my long-term plans was to have a family and be around for them, that I would be there. And also, I suppose, because I've always I've always been creative. I've always had like a scissors in my hand, cardboard, paper, fabric. It's always been something that that I'd never be without. So I'd always be making things. And I suppose it was just the next step really to do that as a career. Um so I suppose, like, I've lost my train of thought now.
Oh, yeah, because the question was very simple. What are you selling? So you're doing something, like you're crafting things for yourself, and it's kind of jewelry. That's what I kind of figured, isn't it? It's a form
Yeah,
of.
yeah. So all my designs of jewelry are acrylic. So they're all laser cut acrylic, and they're really fun and colourful to wear. I'm crazy about like just bright colours. I wear a lot of black, and for me, wearing colourful accessories just to stand out, against like the backdrop of white or black, or, well, actually, I wear a lot of patterned stuff as well, but with a black. Look what I have on today. Like, this is like patterned on top of black. But
Yeah.
I love colourful jewelry, and
Hmm.
I've always been interested about making my own jewelry. And years ago, I just decided to just go for it,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is self-taught, to be honest. And then I have like an amazing group of people behind me who've mentored me and encouraged me, and like, that have I suppose worked in the background of, I have an idea and I say, right, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And like, say for instance, one of my best friends, Karen, she runs her own marketing and branding company. So she's been amazing at helping my brand, like, build a brand and my marketing and the graphic design behind it as well. Because that's something that I never studied in college. I studied photography.
Yeah.
I did a business course, a management course when I was working, for someone else in
Hmm.
retail. And so all of that, I suppose, helped me learn the backgrounds of, or the background of what it takes to build your business. But unless you do it, there's just so much learning. There's so much in the background.
Never get there. And you yeah, and you said, it was almost like every little stone or every little turn you took were milestones that you didn't know but kind of noticed. They kind of build up into becoming now your own CEO and to kind of run a quite successful jewelry business, which you
Yeah,
doing
yeah. Like especially,
online and on markets, right? Is where you sell, or is it a shop?
well,
You
I
have.
started out at markets. I had a website built, but it wasn't very good. And I started out at markets, and I suppose the markets were great for introducing me to, say, my customers and what people wanted to wear, what they liked. So when I'd have a selection of stuff out of the markets, and there'd be, be different feedback on certain products, because like you could always ask friends, and friends would always go, "Oh, that's lovely, yeah, and that's lovely, that's lovely." But it's not until you get out there to your customer base that's when you see what people want to wear, what they want to buy off you. Even, when it comes down to how much it is, you might be pricing yourself too low, and
Mm.
things are flying out, and you're like, hang on a second, geez, I might actually put my prices up here because these are really popular, like, and I'm not making much on these at this price, so I need to put prices up. So even all that, research you have to do at the start. But the markets were great for building customers, building a bit of a community as well. I've met so many good friends from doing the markets, and we're all there to help out each other as well, and offer advice. So that, like, the markets are great for that. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's not a lot of markets going on in
No,
Dublin.
and so you're selling online, or what are you doing really?
Yeah, so the website has been properly set up now the last good few years, and it's going really well. And I've got my stuff into I think 23, 24 shops now around Ireland. So yeah, it's great. Like that's the one thing that I suppose pushes your product as well when you get it into a store. Let's say like an Irish design store,
Mm.
or a small independent boutique, or cafes even. They're great at promoting your products, and it's like free advertising for you as well, because your stuff is sitting there in their stores, and you're getting customers from all over the place seeing your work, and then they might go on your website. And also, what's been really important, especially in the last year, is my Instagram and my social media feed. You do have to, like, I do spend a lot of time on that, because it's important, because it does generate sales. And it is important to get your name out there. I mean, everything seems to be through Instagram now.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a website, then you don't have a business, basically.
Yeah.
So that's been really important in building the business as well. So yeah, like the markets are great. I still do markets the odd time when they come up, and then the website and my stockist. So that's where my
Yeah.
products are being
Beautiful.
bought.
Yeah, and that didn't come from nowhere. I mean, like, if you don't know Ali is not just a woman, a successful artistic woman, but she also is a mother and, a wife. And so in between all these things that you have to manage and a house owner, what is it that's kind of keeping you driving forward? Like, a lot of us who kind of step into self-employment, we feel like it's like when you replace, no, let me put it another way, like when you replace your 9 to 5, which you came from as well, into something creative and something that needs to sell, you cannot go back to that same way of working, because you're in between everything, between your dogs, between your kids, between, like, what next step is it on the house, keeping your, relationship alive with your husband. So what would you say, like, how did that affect you, and how did you manage it without going crazy?
Well, there's definitely been a lot of stress along the way, and it's been an absolute journey so far. I mean, this is only the start of it, really. And yeah, it's been difficult. I can't lie about that. It has been hard. But luckily for me, I have amazing support from Paul, my husband. He's also running his own business, so we're very much equal in that sense. We know what each other needs, time wise, work wise, family wise.
Mm.
And it like we have to make it work. We just have to. And I suppose the reason why I went into working for myself was for the fact that we wanted to start a family. We wanted to provide for them, give them time with us, plus also, you know, the nice things in life. And luckily, both our businesses have been really successful over the last few years. And so we can provide that. And it has been hard because we work every hour. And when the kids go to bed, they're so young that they go to bed early. So when they go to bed, we work. We, you know, not every night, but most nights, you know, your focus is always there to get your work done. Like anyone who'd be doing a 9 to 5. And at the moment as well, I'm in my studio. I'm based in my studio Monday to Friday, and then the kids are in school and Kreis. So I try and get as much done when I'm there as possible. Some days, you know, you've less motivation than others, but
yeah.
I suppose I have to be strict on myself with my time. You know, years ago, before kids came along, I'd be just, I suppose, just like not really concentrating on a day's work, you know, when I started the business, and I'd be like, oh, I've this to do, this to do. That can wait, you know, and I'd be up then till 3 o'clock in the morning doing jobs, because by at 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, oh, I'm awake now. I'll do that job now, or I have an idea for design now. And, you know, it worked okay then, but there was a lot of time wasting. And I suppose having a family now has definitely made me more aware of how much time I have to get things done in, and it's definitely made me more productive. Like,
I'm glad you're saying this, because I think a lot of moms, you know, like, because I'm aware that I have a high kind of listener around, you know, like I have a lot of my audience is more female than male, and I feel like a lot of mothers, you know, like who like to listen to a podcast while they're doing whatever they're doing, taking the kids out. They struggle with the idea to come back onto their feet and into business and everything. And you just named it there. My advice from a coaching perspective is always, you know, you gotta make time and you gotta be disciplined. And that sounds harsh, but, you know, like be more aware of that it's a limited resource, and know that you have a say in your own time. You know, that's what I often feel. How does that feel? You know, like if I can ask you that more personal question, you know, like where do you draw the line? You know, how do you make that work for your consciousness and for your heart? Because the little ones are so dear, and the dogs are so dear, and everything is so dear. So where do you put yourself first, and how?
yeah, it's difficult, and you have to nearly pencil things down on paper, in a sense, like a to-do list. You know, you, like, I'd set myself certain jobs to do, certain goals for that day to do with work, and then once I come home, then the time with the kids, dinner. I mean, there's a lot of, you don't sit down till probably 10 at night, you know, because once like the kids are fed and put to bed, and well, the time spent with them, you know, playing, having dinner, going for your walk or whatever, you know, if it's a nice summer evening, getting them out before they go to bed, not like all that time. It's lovely. And then you're just thinking, okay, once they go to bed now, I gotta get my work brain switched back on again and do these emails, or do this little bit of admin, or do a bit of work on the website, or plan what I'm going to do the next day, whether that be a photo shoot for jewelry, or, you know, how many orders I've got for the next day, or like every day is so different. So I mean, take for example my Monday mornings. I suppose I spend until about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon just doing emails and admin and social media, setting it up for the week. And then Tuesdays is a bit more into like making or packing orders. Wednesday, again, a bit more making, packing orders. All other stuff is happening in the background, emails coming in, and, you know, inquiries coming in. And I tend to jump from one thing to the other. And then I'm finding, this was, I mean, even up to a few weeks ago, it just got very overwhelming. So now I have to schedule in, right, this is all I'm doing this day. This is what I'm doing this day. If an email comes in past 3 o'clock, whatever, that's grand. That can be looked at tomorrow, because I need to make this order up, or I need to pack this shop order up, or I need to deliver something, or, you know, like a big job, like you know, making a batch of jewelry, making a batch of headbands or
Mm.
cards or something like that. So it's focusing on one thing. When you've got a lot of jobs to do, it can be so overwhelming. So it's easier just to write it all down, focus on, right, I need to do that job now, and then tick it off. And if you don't get it done by 5 o'clock when you need to go home, it doesn't matter. It can wait till the next.
So what we're talking about here, like so wisely, because that's what I do as well. I need to, as they call us solopreneurs or entrepreneurs. Like if you run your own business, there you definitely get to see everything behind the curtain,
Mm.
so to speak, and
Yeah,
you have to take care of that, and that doesn't happen just on the wayside.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I hear you saying, and that's the way I function a lot myself. There is certain days that are there for certain things, like Tuesdays is my podcast day. That's when I record my podcast, because that is the fun day, and then everything around podcast happens on Tuesdays, and
yeah,
coaching happens on blah 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 blah. And within the day, you have to have the discipline to say, like, these are my mornings and these are my frames.
yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
let's go one step back before we move forward.
Mm.
Like, what was the essential kick for you to really make that switch in career?
Um, a big part of it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to be my own boss. And I think throughout working, like the years spent working for someone else and learning the backgrounds of how a business builds up was very I was very fortunate, I suppose, with who I worked with, that I was sent on management courses, business courses, and I learned a lot about, I suppose, growing a business. So that helped me, that I didn't have to kind of think about, right, I need to do those now, I need to do this now in order to have a business. It was sort of already done, it was there, it was in the background, it just was, I suppose, waiting to come out for when I did,
Yeah.
or for, sorry, for when I started my own business.
Mm.
Now, in saying that, there was so much that I didn't know, and I'm still learning. There's so much now that I'm still
Yeah.
learning,
That
questioning.
doesn't matter. That what
Oh,
keeps it interesting,
mhm,
right? I mean, it's not
yeah,
like as I say, if you're an office person and you prefer to go in, do your thing and go, that's fine. But for some of us, particularly in the artist area, it's like that's the fun. That's where you keep going, to keep exploring it, and to really live with the consequences, which
yeah,
can be shocking at times. But then it's all worth it, because you dug your way out of it yourself, right?
yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I've always wanted to have, I suppose, a job where I get to talk to people all the time, which is lovely, because when I do the markets, I just get to meet people. And I think it works both ways, because people want to talk to the maker, they want to meet the maker, and they want to ask, about, oh, how do you make this, or how did you do that, or where'd you come up with this design? And it's lovely talking to people who enjoy looking at the jewelry and wearing the jewelry. It's
Mm.
just lovely, and I take massive pleasure out of that I can make someone else really happy by
Yeah.
wearing a piece of my jewelry,
Yeah.
and that makes me happy. Like, I just think that's the best thing in the world, when I get some nice feedback from someone, especially, I mean, the last year, people have been stuck at home, and, they get something nice through the post that they've ordered from my website, or a friend has ordered for them. And, this sparkly envelope comes, and they're like, oh, wow, amazing. And it could be
Yeah.
a horrible rainy day outside, and this comes in the post for them, and they've messaged me saying, you just made my day, by getting this in the post. Like, I'm just loving it. And it
Mm.
it makes my day when I get feedback like that. It's really, really lovely. And
Mm.
um what was the other question you asked me there, Alex? Sorry, there's something else I was going to tell you there now.
Yeah,
I've lost my train of thought again.
so did I. But I think I mean, I love what you're saying, because, you know, m- even the tiniest thing, that creative thing that you want to do, and
Yeah.
don't just that it moves forward as a sustainable business, can be a sustainable business if you love it. Because what I hear you saying is that you're absolutely enjoying part of the process, like the making is probably a lot of fun for you. And then, selling it is a fun for you because you get to talk to people, getting the feedback, and all these little things add up uh, to really what we want from life. To me, like we want to all live a happy life, and happy doesn't often mean like safe, but it means simply trying to go for what makes you shine and you happy. So that's
Yeah,
what I
okay.
hear you saying.
And there's a massive amount of support here in Ireland for Irish design, Irish made. Um, it's just been brilliant. I mean, the last year especially, there's been such a push here in Ireland to buy local and buy from your independent shops, buy from your independent cafes, buy from small makers, and it makes such a difference. I mean, the amount of revenue that Irish designers and makers bring to this country, to our government, is unbelievable. I mean, there's so many amazing creative designers, people out there. Like there's just it's just there's just there's so many, like it's brilliant, that there's
Yeah.
such a huge creative community here in Ireland. And the last year definitely people have, I suppose, been more conscious of where they buy from, who they buy from, and what they buy. So that has definitely helped with a business, say like mine, which is a small business. There's just me here, making it all, signing it all, packing it up, answering the emails,
Yeah.
doing the social media stuff, answering messages on Instagram. It's just me, and it's lovely, I suppose, for my customers that they have that personal touch. If you buy from, I suppose, one of the bigger chains or the bigger online stores, you don't get that. You don't get the personal note written in your package and maybe a little gift thrown in with it. Whereas if you buy from an independent person, an Irish designer or an independent business, you're going to get that special treatment because our customers are everything to us.
Yeah.
And we want to make their day just like they've made our day by purchasing from us.
Yeah.
It works both ways, definitely. And as I say to you, it's lovely then when someone sends you a message, giving you feedback on, oh, I love my earrings and thanks for the little brooch or the little studs you threw in with that. It's a lovely touch, and the little note. And I suppose it does just kind of bring it back home where you're thinking, yeah, because I love when I get stuff like that in the post. So I want my customers to also feel that happiness when they get something in the post from me as well.
Yeah, and I think it would work really, it works for so many reasons. There is a greater consciousness arising around sustainability, maybe food, maybe slow food, maybe purchasing things, throwing away things. So that's one thing that supports you. And the other thing is that I notice myself, I love that too, sending stuff out to my clients in the post, and how much do we get in the post these days? We don't. And it really shifts the business back into out of the technology world into noticing that you're dealing with someone and that you're in a connection with someone. And
Yeah.
the third factor, and I think we haven't revealed that yet, but when you chose then to become self-employed, that was in a crisis that kind of hit almost all Europe and US, the crisis of 2009, and a lot of shops got closed, and that was for you the kickstart. And personally, I feel we are in one of these moments in time where I feel it's a good time to
Yeah.
try your own thing, because everybody will forgive you and everybody is ready to support you, for changing career, doing something new. So yeah, I stop yabbering and you can get back.
For me, it was definitely the kick up the bum I needed, because I always wanted to set up my own business. And the recession and being made redundant, definitely, I was like, okay, this is my chance now. If I don't do it now, when will I? So I really wanted to do it. So I just went for it. And it was scary because for the first few years of setting up the business, I had no money. Everything that came in went straight back out again. But luckily for me, I just kind of plowed on through. I had amazing support from friends and family, from Paul, my husband, and he was basically at the same stage as me. We were both set up our businesses at the same time. He was made redundant pretty much within a few months of me being made redundant. So it was like, it was tough. It was really tough, you know. And then because we'd planned to start a family, we were both only about a year or two into our businesses when Lucas was born. And I didn't really take much maternity leave because I was like, no, I have to get this business off the ground. Paul's business was starting to shift up a gear. It was, you know, so we just very, very slowly built our businesses up through a lot of hard work, many hours, just many late nights, just, you know, doing what we love. But I mean, it's paying off. We love what we do. It's brilliant. And I mean, what I'd even kind of say to other people out there who are thinking about setting up a business is, yeah, it's scary, but get as much advice from people who've already done it. Talk to them, ask them loads of questions, even if they, you know, they think, oh no, that's a silly question. It's not. Like, ask loads of questions, do your research, do your background research. Like, I've so many friends that I've met through doing what I do who have now said, you know, because of you, I'm going to set up my own business, and it's amazing, and they've done really well. They're, you know, they're doing really well out of it, and it's just lovely. Like, it's lovely that I could inspire someone, because I've had so many people who inspire me and still do to do, you know, to do what I do. And I mean, yeah, like the recession definitely, it did kickstart something, and I haven't looked back. I wouldn't want to be working for anyone else now. I really wouldn't, you know. And it has meant from building up the business, and now it's at a stage where it's fairly established. I've got so many ideas for it, so many new lines of designs that I want to do, and even enter into a totally different market. You know, I kind of wanted to go down now for the future, start doing like homewares, and I suppose be a full kind of lifestyle brand. So that's all in the future, but that's my plan for the business. So I mean, it's forever growing. It's for, I can't switch off, basically. That's the honest truth.
Why not? I mean, we can create endlessly. That's what, you know, like,
yeah,
I always say that's why we came to this earth, you know, just because spirit wanted to express itself. And if it does it in this expanding way, why not go for it? You know?
If you just stay doing the same thing forever and ever, you get bored, you lose the passion for it. So I think when you have that creative bone in your body, you're constantly thinking of, right, what's the next thing I'm going to do? What's the next thing I'm going to make? What's, you know, what's my next idea that I can explode into something amazing? And yeah, like you're forever just thinking about the future, I suppose, you know. And I mean, like, as I was saying to you, one thing that I have been, I suppose that's influenced me massively, is interiors. I love interiors, and that comes through even in my jewelry and, say, the color choices, the designs. And I have, like, which Paul hates, I suppose I have like a couple of hundred interior magazines in the house. Like, I get to read all them. I was like, I do, I flick through them all the time. But I'm constantly, wherever I go, whether it's a shop, whether it's I suppose a gallery, anywhere I go, I'm just taking it all in. It's all going into my head, processing it. Yeah, that's a nice color together. That's a nice design. That's a nice shape. And it seems to then come out in my designs. You know, I suppose I'm just influenced by so much around me. And you know what? One thing that I'm going off the topic a little bit here, but one thing that I miss is when I go traveling. Right now, it's like I love Berlin, I love London for like just looking at the shops, the visual merchandising in shops, and how things are laid out, and I miss that about when I travel. It's something that I always do. Like when me and Paul go traveling and we go into a certain shop, I have to go into the shop, just I want to have a look at like how they've displayed such and such. And he knows that's when it's his time to stop talking to me, because I'm just looking at stuff and taking it all in. But I love that, like about the shops in Berlin,
Hmm.
the shops in London. That's,
Yeah,
I
I know
love
what you're
it.
saying.
I miss
Yeah.
not being able to do that at the moment because
Yeah, and we're all looking forward to that, I suppose, like it's opening up here, and I know it's opening up in Ireland as well slowly. And
yeah, it's lovely
yeah,
to see all
and
shops
it'll
open.
only take a blink of an eye before we're back in looking at shops and traveling and, enjoying
Yeah, and I have to
the
come over to
real
Ireland
world.
soon.
Well, thank you, Ali. That was beautiful and encouraging. I found that very encouraging what you had to said, and so well portrayed between the ups and the downs. Is there one little thing, a gift of some kind that you want to leave with the listener?
Do you know, I suppose, like what I was saying earlier, for anyone who is thinking about setting up their business, is to just research,
Mm.
definitely. Because if you have a product that you want to get out to customers and you're finding it's not working, I'm not, why aren't people buying this? Then you just got to, I suppose, take a step back and say, okay, is it to do with the price? Are you well, that's another thing, when it comes to say the price and stuff, it's not a business unless you're making money on it as
Yeah.
well. Because I mean, like, you have to put a good price on your skill, your design, the hours of work that go into it. Like some of my designs I've had there for a year and I'll go back to them. So I mean, things can take a long time to design up. And I suppose you have to kind of consider that when you're, say, pricing something or like buying your materials for that product. You have to make sure that it's going to be a viable business. So
Mhm.
your research is so important. And meet people, talk to people
Yeah.
who are in that field. They're not your competition. They're going to be there to help you because they started out exactly the same. And just, I suppose, when you're talking to people, that's also your research. Like loads of big companies do all these market and research. They spend thousands and thousands every year on market research. For a small business, you don't have that. So you have to just go out and talk to people.
Yes. Yeah.
And I suppose, there's lots of different places. Like here in Ireland, there's local enterprise, there's Design and Crafts Council of Ireland that you can talk to and get advice, for what your idea is. And they will advise you, set you up with a mentor. And there's funding available. There's different avenues like that, when you are
Mm.
sort of I suppose when you have your idea is already out there. If you're not fully established, but your idea is definitely out there within, the public eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely research is a massive, massive thing. And I mean, have fun in it as well, because if you're not going to have fun making or doing or designing what it is, like it comes across in your work, I suppose, as well. Like I've
So,
found over the years, there's loads of products that I've made that I'm not happy with, so I don't do them anymore.
yeah.
It's as simple as that, really. I don't enjoy making them. I don't enjoy the process behind it, or it's not making the money that it should be making on it, and it costs too much to produce. So that goes. But all that is all learned through years and years of building up the business. So yeah, no, definitely the research is a massive thing, and enjoy it. It can be stressful, but to enjoy
Mm.
building up that business and enjoy meeting people who will help you along the way. Like, no one is going to be sort of out to get you as such. People are there to help, and I suppose you kind of have to think, right, okay, I got to find my people here. I got to find my community of who is there to help me. And when you find those people, they're there, and it's amazing. It's brilliant.
Thank you. Good final words.
Sorry, a
So,
lot of words.
yes, there is for those who are not from Ireland, there is a stone in Ireland that you kiss, and then it gives you the gift of
The Larry
talking.
Stone. I've never kissed it, actually.
I think you did.
Isn't it down in Cork, Alex? I think that's where it is.
No, Blarney? Yeah, it's down in the
Oh,
south. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, near Cork. Well, anyway, thank you, dear listener, for sitting here with us today, and thank you, Ali, for making time in your
thanks, Alex.
busy
Love
schedule.
to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, until next time, then.
Thank you.